Hello inflatable fans, I hope you're all well. Today I'm going to do a much awaited comparison between the Aquatec Ottawa and the Sandbanks Optimal. I think that one's the Pro. So that one's mine and that one's Mr. Ruffles there. There we go. Yeah, we're out on a bit of a paddle today, a bit of a group meet. But while we're here, I thought what we're going to do is John and I are going to swap over and try each other's boats respectively. They do come in at very different prices, even though John bought an X-Display model which was the same price as that. But these roughly go for about 400, 450 including postage. These, I think they're about 600, 699. I will put the price on the screen just so once I've verified that. So what we'll do is we'll start at the front, work our way back and have a look at all the features of these boats by comparison. They both have a bit of a crumple zone, front and back, kind of like a soft nose. The handles are actually identical. They feel exactly the same, except for that one's obviously got the branding on. Both got bungee cord, 6 lashes each, and the build quality looks identical. And they've both got this kind of beveled keel, and it's the same at the bow actually as well. What did surprise me with these is on the advertising site for these boats, these are unfinished, and yet they came shrink wrapped and heat sealed, that's the word. Whereas, yeah, those don't. Intriguing, right? Let's move inside the boats a little bit further forward. Now, the valves are in slightly different positions. The drain valve is under the seat on the Optimal. Under the keel, they both have a little bit of storage space in there. The inflation is identical, 10 to 12 psi, 10 to 12 psi. Moving back, now I've actually put my seat in the position it's supposed to be in, whereas John's put his nestled right to the back. But to be fair, the seating in these is the same. It's crap. Like most kayak seats, it's a bit crap. As you can see from the back there, they both have that bevel. Again, these are the same, and these virtually the same. I think that's a little bit firmer, but it is negligible. It's only supposed to be a crumple zone from what I'm guessing anyway. So let's have a look underneath the boats. Now for me, this is where it gets interesting, because the Sandbanks actually has a little bit of an angled keel here. Can you see that? Whereas the Aquatec is flatter. It does have a bevel going down the side, which is your secondary stabilisation, and your primary is a little bit flatter, a little bit supboardish. Whereas this, as I say, it does have an angle, so it has a major primary at the back and a slight secondary at the front here. Underneath you can see both have a drain valve in, skegs in a similar position. All that remains now is to get them on the water. What's going to happen is we're going out for a bit of a paddle here with the guys. The machine, as you might expect, is already on the water in one of his tuk-tuks. As I say, all that remains now is to get them out for a paddle. John and I are going to swap over and try each other's boats and see what we think, and I'll let you know what we think. We have stacked these one on top of the other, and these are identical in length and width, although because of the colour profile it's kind of weird. The Sandbanks does look narrower than the Aquatec, than the Ottawa, but they are actually identical in width and length. Right, let's get on the water. Right, I'm going to paddle a little bit faster for a bit, and I'm going to see what my the speed gets up to on my watch for this boat. So as I say, Aquatec Ottawa speed test. So just at set off, I'm at 3.2, 3.9. This is not taking me much effort. 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, 4.4. It's just touched on. 4.4, and if I just kind of steady down to normal paddling, settling down to about 3.9, yeah, 3.94 miles an hour at my sort of like standard paddling pace, which is pretty good, quite impressive actually. Right, we've got a nice little area here, so John and I are going to swap boats. Now what I am going to do is use the same paddle for a fair comparison. No matter where you go, there's got to be a Dave. Alright, so John actually has his seating position further back than I've got mine in mind, even though, you know, they do set the same way. So what I'm going to do is, I am just going to sort of like plummet down here for a bit and just see what kind of speed I get up to in this one, just see if it's about the same. So currently about 3.2, 3.6, 3.7, 3.8, 4, 4.1, 4.1. You know what, weirdly, I don't seem to be able to get above 4. Just really go for it. 4.1, 4.3. I feel like I'm having to pull this an awful lot harder. I'm at 4.3, 4.4 at the minute, which is what I had in mind. But I feel like I'm pulling an awful lot harder and making a lot more splash than I did in mine. Intriguing. Now, as I say, the seating position could have an impact on that. John has his seat. John's got a little bit of a booster in this just to add a bit of comfort to it. And so I am sat a bit higher, as I say. Wonder if I can just adjust it a little bit and have another go at that. Right, I've sat a bit further forward, so I'm a little bit lower down, and I've got my feet braced against the front of the boat. So let's give this another go. So 2.6, 3.6. GPS is just catching up. 4, 4.1. This is definitely moving a bit easier. 4.2. Even so, surprisingly 4.3. I know we're getting there. No, do you know what? It's about the same. It's hovering about 4.2, 4.3, and I feel like I've got to paddle really hard. You can probably see the splash from the paddle in front of the lens, because I'm really having to pull to hit 4.3 here. Yeah, that's a bit weird, especially considering it's the same stretch of water. Actually, what's really interesting is John caught up with me really easily, and he's saying that that's faster.
I wouldn't say easily.
It's hard work, but he caught up.
But I did catch up, yeah.
Yeah.
This is definitely faster.
This is, which is weird, given the fact that this has that V profile underneath the boat, the one that I showed you at the beginning. I'll show you it again now so you know what I mean. I am actually really intrigued by that, because technically this should be faster and easier to paddle than that, you'd think. Well, I'm back in mine again now, and it's going to be interesting for me to see how it feels paddling it again. Oh, just let me get the seat cushion better. Yeah, it is interesting that both John and I had the same experience about the Ottawa being faster. Do you know what? It does feel, being back in it, it does feel easier to paddle. I thought it might be psychological, but it does seem to move better on the water. It glides better. Never saw that coming. When we get back to Draco's, the machine's going to have a go in both as well, and we'll get his opinion too. Alright, so we've got back after having tried these out. I think the machine's going to take them out in a bit, and if he does, I'll include that footage after this. But yeah, that was a real surprise. In fact, the interesting thing was, it wasn't just me. What did you think, John?
Blue one's faster.
Yeah, he thought the Aquatec was faster.
Yeah.
Blue one's faster. And I've got to admit, that was my experience too, and I'm glad it wasn't just me. As I said, it'd be interesting to see what the machine thinks when he takes it out, but just out of curiosity, would you buy the Sandbanks at full price? Because I know you got that on offer, or would you have gone for the Aquatec?
Having paddled both, I'll go for the Aquatec.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I prefer the seat in mine.
Right, okay.
But it gives you a bit more back support. But
yeah, the
otherwise,
seat is a little bit different to mine. I'd never noticed that actually. So that's the seat that comes with John's. Obviously he's put a little booster cushion under. Does a booster cushion come with it?
no, I brought that.
No, so he's put a booster cushion underneath it. Whereas the seat that comes in mine is really naff. I mean, I've put my orthopedic cushion on there. It's yeah, it's a bit khakis that. It's not good. But it is interesting that nevertheless we both think that's the better craft. It's certainly better value. Never saw that coming.
No.
No, not at all. Never saw that coming. Anyway, you know what to do if you like what I'm doing on the channel in terms of liking, subscribing, blah, 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 blah. We're going to cook something to eat and then we're going to go out and paddle again. As I say, if this video goes on a bit longer, it's because there's an opinion from the machine. You take care of yourself. Cheerio. He's doing it. He's doing it. Sandbanks trying to get the words out. Sandbanks first. Right, it's come back in the Sandbanks and he's just taking the Aquatec out. He's just testing the primary and secondary. And he's off. So Raf's back. Which one do you prefer, Raf? Yeah. Weird.
Not the colour.
None of us today saw that coming. We all thought the Sandbanks would probably be the one that cinched it, especially after we looked at the underside. Thought it would be the one that nailed it. But for some reason, this one just handles that bit better. Weird. Anyway, you heard it here first.